Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I've been gone for a while and I'm super excited to be back, or at least come on here and post again, because I just feel like I want to return with some big sister advice, right? About life, about love, about career, about entrepreneurship, about creativity, about art, about expression, about showing up in who you are, about feeling comfortable in your body and being who you are without any regret, without any remorse, without any insecurity lying behind it. And right now, I want to talk to you about how to be secure in who you are, how to know yourself, and remain contained in relationship. Because I noticed for myself when I got into a relationship after being single for like 3 years, I noticed I needed to take time away from my relationship in order to self-regulate. Because I knew how to self-regulate on my own, but I'd forgotten how to self-regulate while in relationship with someone, while being together. And that was truly a dance of refining that. But the thing that helped me most is knowing how to center. Know how to center yourself. Know what are the things that you can do in order to remain who you are in your core. Because we have different forms, we have different ways of showing up. Sometimes I'm wearing a little cute little thing and hoop earrings, and sometimes I am wearing a really pretty dress and my hair is braided and I'm fluttering around the gardens, right? And sometimes my hair's slick back, I'm wearing black, right? We have all these different forms, all these different ways of showing up, but the core remains the same. And when you truly know and understand what is at your core, that is when you can come into a relationship from such a centered place that no one's going to knock you off balance. That no one is going to make you feel really insecure about yourself, because I've been there where I was experiencing deep insecurity and deep uncertainty and deep confusion while I was dating because I wasn't secure in who I was. And that's all I can say, right? I spent years being confused, letting myself feel confused by the men I was seeing, hating dating because I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know if they liked me. I didn't know if I was good enough. I didn't know if I was texting too much or too little, or that I was feeling too much or too little. I was so confused until I started knowing who I was, knowing who I am, and no one can confuse me anymore. Because, especially when you're dating, the confusion that you may feel from someone because they are unclear, right? Let's put that out there. They are unclear. You feel confused. It's the most clarity that you can receive to leave. One of my rules when I was dating was the second I feel confused about whether or not he likes me, I'm out. Like, I'm gone. I'm not even gonna ask for clarification. Like, that's honestly, at some point, I was like, that's embarrassing. I used to do that. I was like, hey, what are we? Where are we? Where is this going? And that's embarrassing because I will not be with someone who is not crystal clear about me. And being in the relationship that I am now, where my man never, not once, made me feel confused about where we stand, how much he likes me, where we are going. It was all so utterly clear right from the start. And this intertwines, right, with our identity and with who we believe we are and who we know that we are. Because when we are wobbled easily by relationship, when someone gives us feedback or someone is sharing a reflection about us, when someone's behaviors are not aligned with what we believe to be true about them, and we start questioning ourselves, which in its own is a good thing, right? Question yourself always, but don't start questioning what you might have done wrong in a sense of you're feeling confused, you're feeling insecure. It's not about letting anyone make you feel insecure about yourself. Never, especially when you're dating. And when you truly know who you are, that won't happen, right? So we want to get to the core of who am I? How can I build that foundation and tend to that so that when I am into relationship, when I am in relationship, whether it's with friends, with family, or with your lover, with your man, you are not easily thrown off balance by either their absence, by their uncertainty, by their unclarity. You are always in deep knowing of this is what is true. This is what is happening. This is who I am. And communicating from that place creates this self-worth that is felt from the outside and not just, right? Like, I am worthy. I know I am worthy. It's like this performative, like, I'm worthy. It's like, I am worthy. And I don't need to tell you that I know that I am worthy because I am showing you with my actions. I'm showing you with the way that I am showing up for myself and with the way that I am respecting myself. Your actions speak a million times louder than your words. And when I was dating and I felt, right, that confusion or I felt some sort of inconsistency, the first thing I did was remove myself because it's not serving me. And when we are really clear in who we are also really clear in what we are willing to tolerate and what not. Because anything that anyone is giving us is information. And that's it. You can choose to make that mean something about you, or you can choose to see it as what it is, information. And then you get to do with that information what you want. A man who makes you feel confused is most likely inconsistent in his words or in his actions. His inconsistency in his words and his actions says a lot more about him as a person than you as a person. And so you can take that information, look at it, investigate it, right? That's what vetting is for. And then do with it what you will. You can put it away, you can ignore it, you can look at it and say, no, I'm not accepting this, give it back. You can do with it what you will, but it's just information. And we have to stop making it mean something about ourselves and basing our identity of the way that other people are perceiving us or treating us when it's truly based on how deeply you know yourself, know who you are. And staying open and curious when you do feel off center, when you do feel wobbled, when you do feel like, oh, I don't know what's happening. And you can retreat and assess and return and strengthen that knowing of who you are and then come back, right? There's nothing wrong with that. And I noticed that in my relationship, especially at the start, when I had to regulate myself or I started feeling overwhelmed by like busyness or chaos outside. And I was like, okay, I need a moment to retreat. That's completely fine. But from that, we build a center so that we don't need a life that we need to retreat from. We don't need relationships that we need to retreat from because we have practiced internally what it means and what it feels like to have a strong core so that when we are in relationship, we can draw on that and we don't need to remove ourselves because ultimately the goal is not to know how to regulate yourself alone in your bedroom. Not at all. The goal is to know how to regulate yourself in a room full of people, in an intense conversation with a family member, in a heated argument with your lover, a passionate argument, right? I don't really believe in like actual fights because like a fight insinuates screaming. In my opinion, like when you're fighting or fighting, there's screaming, there's heavy intense emotions. I believe that two adult people are able to communicate in a calm and leveled manner. An argument, it's fine, it happens. but know how to be at your center and know what it's required to remain at your center too. And then when we know who we are, we can let all of it go again. Because through unbecoming, we can become and we can expand and we can go into the most wild and crazy ways of becoming more of who we are without the containment of this is who I am, right? I'm sure you've met someone who had, or maybe it's yourself, right? There's certain things that you do or certain things someone else does. And when you ask them, well, maybe you can work on that, or you think maybe I can work on that. And it's like, nah, it's just who I am. It's never just who you are. Never. Everything's learned, everything's put on, except for your core. So it's not who you are, it's who you think you are. It's who you led yourself to believe that you are. And we can always expand that when we let go of it, when we put it down and then pick something back up. And that's how we constantly, right? Because we are, as women, especially, we're constantly evolving. We're constantly going to the next thing, and we're constantly expanding ourselves and expanding our capacity and expanding our hearts and opening our hearts and finding new iterations of ourselves. And that's where the different forms that I spoke about at the beginning that then come into play. Like one different form may bring out a slightly different flavor of you. And then another form may bring out a complete different flavor again. But it's really interesting to see when we inquire, okay, who am I and who am I not? To see how we can find ourselves within that perceived identity rather than expand and let ourselves be in the unseen and in the unknown. In the unknown. Because it's fun over there. It's like, it's exciting. There's so much happening. There's so much to discover and to be curious about. And the way that our relationships are involved in this is when we confine to one way of being, we are also creating this picture of ourselves in the way that other people perceives us. And then they start to create those loops, right? That we talk about, the loops of reinforcing some sort of what's happening and who you are, and you're stuck in that confinement. And when you're constantly evolving and letting yourself play with your expression, right, it takes confidence too, and it takes practice, it takes repetition. When you want to find out who you are, it's about trying on different versions of yourself, really, and letting that be fun, letting that be exciting and playful, and finding like the lightness in that it's not all so serious, that it's not all so decisive, really brings a lot of relief, a lot of letting go, a lot of joy. And we get to play. And that's what's so exciting about it. And that's what's so beautiful about it. So, my invitation to you is really see, like, okay, who do I think I am? And how can I expand that? How can I try on a different version of me today? How can I do something that kind of scares me, but I want to do it? Something that you've always wanted to do, but it scares you. Maybe it's posting that picture. Maybe it's posting that video. Maybe it's having that conversation. Maybe it's going on a date by yourself, you know? Like having fun with it, feeling excited by it, and playing around. And watch how literally everything will shift. That is what I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to be back soon with another video. If you have any questions, any requests, anything you want me to talk about, please tell me in the chats, in the comment section. I, yeah, I feel good like coming back on here, chatting with you. I think it's going to be so cozy, so fun, and I'll see you soon.